Most important thing in business is honesty, integrity, hard work, family, never forgetting where we came from.
Welcome to the Network Show. I'm your host, Lawrence Wingate.
And I'm your host, Nancy White. And today we have Steve Gatter, Underdog Business Strategies, the owner and the operator. And so welcome, Steve. We're so glad that you're with us and that you want to share some of your wisdom, your insights on your journey of being an entrepreneur.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, so glad.
So, Steve, what I want to know from you, I know what you do now, but who was Steve Gatter before what you're doing now?
Well, before I was a solopreneur, I was what we used to call production monkey for Countrywide Home Loans. And Countrywide, as you might know, is the number one, the 800-pound gorilla in the mortgage industry. And we were that because we produced a lot of loans. Okay. And so I managed a wholesale branch for Countrywide in Philadelphia. And when the mortgage industry imploded, I got out and went off to try to do something new.
Okay. So one thing I want to understand or want to know and explain to our viewers, what's the difference between a solopreneur and an entrepreneur?
Great question. I think the basic difference is this. The solopreneur is a person that wants to be a one-person business. And that's all I want. I've spent my life managing employees. I've had enough of that. I understand what employees do and don't do. And what I'd like to be able to figure out is how can I do my own business with just me? Because the only people I really want to interact with are my clients.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense.
That is very interesting that you say that. So, but on your journey to get to where you are, Steve, was there anybody else in your family that was a solopreneur or entrepreneur, or were you the first one to break free?
Wow. This is truthfully my favorite story, and it's my grandfather on my dad's side. And H.P. Gatter was a supervisor for a company called Household Finance. And they made small loans, and they had offices all over the country. And Household decided that they were going to close one of their offices in Center City, Philadelphia. And my grandfather thought it was a horrible mistake to do that. And so he told them that, well, if you close this office, I'm going to quit. I'm going to go get my own license, and I'm going to open up my own office in that exact same location. And they said, well, do what you got to do, HP. They fired him. He did exactly that, and he opened up that office, and he built public finance, which by the time my brother and I came along was 70 offices up and down the East Coast.
Oh my goodness, so you do have a history.
Well, he was the one and only, because I don't think there's any other entrepreneurial spirit in my family history other than HP.
Wow, that is amazing.
So one other thing I want to ask you is that, in your company, what is that you specialize in to help your clients get to where they need to go?
This is what I think is the most important thing when you try to figure out what is it that I'm going to do? What is the value proposition that I'm going to be able to bring to my clients? And it's taken me a long time to figure that out. But I think the number one element that I bring to my clients is client discovery. Who exactly is your client? Too many of my clients, when I first meet them and I ask them, well, who's your client? And they tell me, everybody.
Everybody, anybody breathing, yes.
And I had that event just yesterday and somebody was challenging me on talking about niche markets. And they said, well, aren't I pigeonholing myself? I mean, if I only focus at them, I'm missing out on everybody. And I said, well, here's my first question. What happens if everybody shows up? What happens if you put together a marketing campaign that works perfectly and all 7 billion people on the planet call you? What are you going to do then?
Exactly.
You're just a one-person business. So helping them zero in on who do you really want to have as a client and what value proposition are you going to bring to them and why would they want to talk to you? Not hire you yet, just talk to you. Because the first thing you got to do is go meet somebody.
Exactly.
And if you're a brand new business and it's just you, meeting people face to face matters.
It does. Yes, we were talking earlier about how it is, especially with social media and everything, you want to get it offline as fast as you can to talk to people.
Right.
Because you can really do business with one person at a time.
Yes, unfortunately.
In your time as a solopreneur,
Thank you.
right? What are some of the trends that you see throughout your clients that you see in everybody else, in other entrepreneurs?
Well, the one I just mentioned is the most common one. Who's your client? Everybody. Okay, no, they're not. So now let's start figuring out who are you most likely to resonate with. And the weapon that I use more often than not is LinkedIn. And being able to look at people's LinkedIn profiles and learn about them before you decide to go meet them. So you can look for the people that have those things in common. And if you can find those people are going to be more likely to want to meet you because we have something in common. And the third thing I'll add to this mix is act like an owner, don't act like a salesperson. You're not trying to sell me anything. You own your own company. Act like one. Go make these connections with your prospects. And building that network of people who know you and trust you, maybe they don't trust you yet, but they at least know you. That's what building your business is. It's more than just getting clients.
It is. It's about the relationship in the long term and you mentioned networking and how important that is. And we've all been networking for quite a few years here at this table, probably combined over 100 years, maybe.
Pretty much.
But anyway, so I think, networking is making those great alliances, finding those resources to be able to share with other people. And we're pretty much vetting people. We're pretty much, finding out who they are, if they're trustworthy, if they do what they say they're going to do. And to me, that's one of the greatest things about networking is getting to really know those people.
And again, it's more than clients. There's connectors in your neighborhood, and you ought to get to know who those connectors are. And you ought to start building a relationship with them and allowing them to help you meet other people and allow them to talk a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Okay. When was that moment when you realized, I want to do this for myself?
Yikes.
What time is it? No. How long ago was that?
When I got out of the mortgage industry, it was January of 2008. And I do believe that the whole world changed in 2008. Now, I didn't realize that in 2008. It took me about 3 years before I realized just how much really changed in the way we do business. So when I first got down here, I was trying to look for a job. A lot of people said, no, Steve, you really weren't. Well, how could you tell? I mean, I was really trying.
In your mind, you're trying.
But I guess I wasn't. I don't know if there was ever a given moment. The strategy that I had when I came down here was to go meet 100 people. And the premise for that was, what do you do for a living? I wonder if I could do that. Because the mortgage industry was out. And so now this was my opportunity to go shopping for a career. And this is going to be my third career. Okay, how do I want to do it? What is it I want to do? What are my options? What are my choices? I'm a lot better at a multiple choice test than I am at a blank essay test. So give me some choices to pick from. And I'm going to say that a year ago, I hired a coach, and he taught me a model that has worked. And so I'm finally getting to the point where I'm committed to this.
Okay.
But I think you have to have a model that actually proves to you that it can generate clients and it can generate some revenue.
Also a strategic plan as well.
Right.
Yes. Okay.
And it's the one that sustains also, because, and just like you said, it was tried, tested, and it works.
Yep.
So you have a question for him?
I do have a question for Steve.
All
So,
right.
Steve, just reflecting back over your journey as a solopreneur, what is one thing that you would absolutely never, ever do again that you could share with our audience so that they may not ever absolutely do it again? Oh, but before you answer that, we're going to break for a commercial, and when we come back, we're going to find out from Steve what it is that he would absolutely never, ever do again, and it may be of such value to you that you don't want to miss it.
Be right back.
I'm Steve Gatter, and I'm a business coach to brand new business ideas. I have a practice called Underdog Business Strategies. Underdog because my clients are brand new in a very large and noisy marketplace. If you're a one-person entity, how exactly are you going to get your message out in front of not just somebody, but the somebodies that you actually want to get it in front of? I'm a big fan of attraction marketing. I'm okay with that. But what I'd much rather do for a brand new business is let's go figure out who your ideal client really is, and let's go meet those people. So here's the question. If you have a passion for something, if you're really good at something, if you have some experience, some talent that you would like to turn into your own business, let's figure out how we can do that. How can we turn your favorite things into being a business?
Welcome back to the network show. I'm your host, Lawrence Wingate.
And I'm your host, Nancy White. And we're continuing this amazing interview with Steve Gatter. And Steve, before we left for our commercial, we left everybody with a question about you. So, going back, reflecting back over the years, over your time as a solopreneur, what is absolutely the one thing that you would never, ever do again? Bungee jumping? No.
That's a great question. Well, when I first got here to Charlotte, I was really looking for a job. And so I really wasn't into this starting my own business thing for a long time. It took a while for me to get over that. And so I was kind of doing this from ground zero. And I really liked that. I really liked the fact that I get to do this my way. I get to establish my own guidelines, my own rules, and I'm going to go figure this out because that's what I like to do. I like to figure stuff out. And trying to figure out how to get a business off the ground, trying to do it without too much guidance from other people, because I was tired of that. I was tired of doing what other people told me to do. I'm going to go do this myself. I've been a sales rep most of my life. I know how to go talk to people. I know how to do that. So the one thing I would positively do better than what I did from the beginning was this. Every single person that I had the opportunity to meet face to face, I would have done a much better job of staying in touch with them. I teach my clients that now, that when you have the opportunity to meet somebody face to face, add them to some kind of a drip email campaign so that you can at least share stuff with the people that you've met and that you can continue to nurture those relationships. And I'm still trying to figure out the best way to do that. But I think that's what growing your business is all about today. It's about the people that you do take the time to meet face to face, one on one. Those meetings are priceless.
Yes.
So be careful about who you go do that with. And when you do it, follow up.
Follow up. And that's one of the things that we hear so much about. And in this day and time where there's so much busyness going on and so much noise, following up. And I know the statistics have changed even more. It's like 6 to 12 touches. But I love your part about it was more keeping the relationship, which is what it's all about too. You're building that relationship to follow up. And then when you offer something that somebody can use, the timing is right, and then you've already got the relationship built. So I think that's great advice, Steve.
Yeah, a couple of my clients I met years ago, and I'll get a call from them saying, Steve, you might not remember me, but we spoke so and so, and you said this, that, and the other, and I want to know more about that. And I would just like to be able to do a better job of my staying top of mind with those people and being able to share some quality information with them. So, like I said, I'm still trying to figure out exactly how I want to do that, but we'll get it.
I know you will. I know.
You will. You've gotten a lot done so far, and you have helped a lot of people.
I want to talk about your Street Smart Mastermind. Can you explain to our viewers what your mastermind group is all about?
Street Smart Sales Forum is probably the core of my becoming a solopreneur. We started it 9 years ago. When I first got here 11 years ago, I met a character. He was trying to sell something. I volunteered to help him, and we wound up creating this group for sales managers. And we called it the Sales Managers Think Tank or something, I forget. But we did a horrible job of selling his consulting practice. We never got any clients. But we did meet a bunch of these sales managers, and we invited them to come to a breakfast. There was like 12 of them sitting around a table. And we said, look, we got nothing. We just wanted you people to come together because we think sales managers don't have anybody they can talk to. You can't talk to your boss if you've got an issue, and you can't talk to your manager, your team. So who are you going to talk to if you have an issue? And so they all kind of looked around the table, and we did the introductions and all that. And one guy said, okay, look, all of you people are really sales managers. You're not sales people, right? You're all managing people. And they all went, yeah. And he went, great, here's my problem.
I love it.
And that got it started. And that's where Street Smart came from, because the sales manager forum lasted about a year. Everybody got promoted.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't sales managers anymore.
It worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that week that it ended, I met Ronnie Evans
Okay.
for the first time. And Ronnie and I were having coffee, and I told him about it. And Ronnie said, well, why don't you do that for business owners?
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like a cool idea. Let's do that. And I said, do you know any? And
He and I are both native Charlotteans, so yeah, know a few. Yeah.
they said, yeah, I know quite a few. I said, well, let's invite some to come to breakfast, and we'll see what happens. And the list continues to grow. There's about 630 people on my invitation list right now. The invitations go out every Friday. The first 12 who RSVP get a seat. We meet every Wednesday from 7 to 9. There's no agenda. Everybody has the opportunity to talk about who they are, what they're doing, whatever questions or issues they might have, and off we go. It's hilarious.
I've been to several of them. And what I like about that is how when you get up and you just ask a question, and I watch everybody how they answer that question, and then how they start talking to one another in order to form a solution to that question. And, to me, that's what business is all about.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what your field is. We all pretty much have common problems and solutions that we can all come together and work together on. And I think that's what I like the most about it, is that and the openness and the willingness to help one another.
Absolutely. It's funny, the question that was put on the table today was pretty good. The question was, if you are a brand new business and you have a handful of dollars with which you can make one video about yourself, what would be the content of that video?
What was the answer? And what was what was the answer?
Well, there were a couple of different suggestions. One was every business identity has to have a pitch. You've got to be able to explain in a minute or two exactly what your business is. Yeah. This is what I'm going to do. These are the people I'm going to help. This is the problem I'm going to solve, blah, blah, blah. So that was number one. The other thing was, why did you do it? Why did you decide to start this business? You all have seen the video with Simon Sinek, Start With Why.
Yes.
And a lot of people mentioned that today, that really got them thinking about, well, why did I start this business? Why did I decide to become a business coach for brand new business people? Why did I want to do that? So that's kind of what we were talking about today. And we had way too many people there today.
Way too many, because they all pitched in and
We had
gave you
18 people there today.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot of opinions.
Wow.
Yeah, that is great. So, Steve, what could you share with others that are wanting to embark on this solopreneur or even entrepreneurial journey? What would you share with them as far as the things that they really should do? We shared about what not to do, but what are some things to encourage people to, either if they haven't started or if they have started, what would you share with those people?
Wow, there's a handful of things. I'll probably forget them while I'm trying to explain it. I think the first one would be to take the time to think about what it is you're going to go do before you go do it. And don't worry about business plans. Don't worry about that stuff. Just kind of get an idea as to who do you think you want to be of value to? How can you help them? And go talk to those people. Find them, figure out who they are, and go have a cup of coffee with them and say, Lawrence, I'm thinking of starting a business. This is what I think it's going to look like. And I think that you would be a prime prospect. So tell me, does it make any sense to you? And actually hear from people that you think would be prospects and get their opinion, as opposed to going and talking to your friends and family who are going to tell you, that's fantastic. You're going to do great.
Or they'll say, no way, you're crazy.
Or that, yeah. So give it some thought and bring somebody on board to help you think about it. The joke that Ronnie and I used to laugh about all the time was, I'm a solopreneur. I have these company meetings all the time in my head.
In my head, yeah. And I keep talking back to myself.
I know. And we come out of those meetings going, that was great. We're going to be terrific.
I have the majority vote.
Yeah. You haven't put anything out in public yet.
Yeah, it is.
So go find somebody to help you do it and think about it.
And that's great advice, because it always starts in our mind before we ever take action. And even people that have started their journey, they still need to talk and throw things out. Because when you're scaling and when you're growing and building your business, you want to have the input from other people that have already done it or have resources to help you to get there.
In some cases with my clients, one of the things I encourage them to do is to create an advisory board. And the people I want on your board are your first 10 clients. I want the people who actually paid money to you for what it is you're going to do. Bring them on a board and get their feedback.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, it was a pleasure having you on the show today. And we're looking forward to great things. But before we go, if someone wants your services or wants to get in contact with you, how can they get in contact?
The easiest way to get in touch with me is through LinkedIn. I'm the only Steve Gatter in Charlotte. There's a bunch of other Steve Gatters out there, but I'm the only one here in Charlotte. And that's the easiest way to do it.
And that's Steve Gatter, Gatter.
Yes.
Great. Well, Nancy,
Again, Steve, we love having you, and just you do so much good in sewing into entrepreneurs and solopreneurs in Charlotte. And you don't even know, when I talk with new people, because Charlotte's very transient, and give them your information, I'll say, if you like coffee, you need to meet Steve, because he likes to have a cup of coffee and get to know you. So,
absolutely.
Yes. Well, thank you so much again for sharing your wisdom, your experience with us and with our audience.
It was my pleasure. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, that ends this episode of the Network Show. See you next week.
Most important thing in business is honesty. Integrity, hard work. Family. Never forgetting where we came from. So you are what you are in this world. That's either one or two things. Either you're somebody or you're nobody. The most important thing in business is honesty. Family. Never forgetting where we came from. So you are what you are in this world.